Welcome to In the Stiffs podcast with me, Sam Aiston. I'm joined by my friends and former Shrewsbury teammates, Gavin Cowan and Dave Edwards.
Big thank you to our sponsors, the brilliant Budge and Motors, kindly sponsoring us in this third series. A family-owned business of 40 years with exceptional customer service. Loads of competitive deals on new and used cars. Get yourselves down there.
Welcome to a fellow Shrewsbury lad who's currently part of the Wrexham Revolution. Came through at Shrewsbury Academy, a couple of loan spells before getting close to promotion with Solihull in 2021-22 season, and has now just achieved promotion back to the Football League with Wrexham. 23 years old, fantastic career ahead of him. Welcome to In the Stiffs, Ryan Barnett.
Hey.
Thank you very much. Thank you, it's good to be here. Good to see you all again. I know it's been a while, but it's a nice setup, isn't it?
It's all right, mate, isn't it? Yeah.
I think I need to buy some stocks in Crossbar.
Just to give a little bit of context, Gav was your manager, wasn't he, for how long?
2 loan spells for about 6 months altogether, I'd say.
Done enough, didn't you, in the first one?
Gav,
yeah.
You know him well.
Yeah, know Barney well. It's been brilliant just keeping in contact with him, and just it's great, isn't it, when you as a manager, when you've had a player who, especially someone like Ryan, who's like, at the time was a real prospect. It's great to see that, you follow their career and he's been on an uptrend, and excited to hear the podcast and how it's all been going. So we've been talking a little bit off air, but interested and excited to know a little bit more.
So Barney, take you back then. Obviously, you're born in Shrewsbury. Yep. Who was your grassroots team?
Admiston Juniors.
So then from Admiston, you then signed for Shrewsbury Academy.
Shrewsbury, yeah.
What age was that then?
That was about 7 or 8. I think I signed when I was 8, but came on trial when I was 7. So I had a few clubs, sort of Wolves, Aston Villa, Stoke. I was on trial at all them, but Shrewsbury offered me one pretty early, so I think my mum and dad were like, "Yep, let's do it."
Closest to home.
Yeah.
Were you a wonder kid then? Like, were you like the best player?
I'd definitely say I was one of the best players at the time for Admiston. Yeah, there was at that point it was kind of just having fun with your mates and stuff like that. And then you go on trial on your own. It's a little bit daunting, but
yeah,
I think I definitely fitted in on trial, and that's obviously why the coaches signed me.
And you coped all right, because I'm saying, like, we've all got our boys all play. The problem is sometimes the Shrewsbury lads, they can be like nice lads, can't they, the Shrewsbury lads, and you suddenly get ones come sort of rougher places who come over, and it's a bit difficult, but you cope with that all right?
Yeah, completely fine, to be fair. I think everyone's there for the same goal, aren't they, to be a footballer really, but no, everyone was fine, the coaches were brilliant with me.
Surely it was the Telford in you, wasn't it? Was it the Telford in you that gave you that bit of steel?
Me, yeah. A little different than
bit of roughness and all that, yeah. No, good. And I know, right, obviously, like, I know a little bit about your background. Real supportive family, mum, dad, sister, all really supportive. Must be really proud of you and what you're achieving at the moment.
Yeah. So my dad, I said before, but I don't think he's missed a game. I think he's missed 2 games in my whole career. So. Wow. And then now my mum started coming recently since it's been at Wrexham, bigger crowds and all that kind of thing.
Anything to do with Ryan Reynolds?
And my sisters as well, actually. So they
Did you not come to the Telford games because of me? No? Oh, okay.
What was your dad like when was he supportive then, or was he hard on you, or what?
Very supportive, but hard on me when he needed to be. I think he's the biggest driver for me. He never let me miss a session, even if I was a little bit ill or trying to maybe have one off because I was a little bit tired. No, if you've had a tough day at school, no, you're going.
You made sure you trained.
I've never been late for a session in my life as well with him. So I think that's something that's been ingrained in me till now.
Are you listening to that, kids? Really important that. Never missed a session, turned up on time.
And parents making sure he gets there on time.
Yeah.
And like we try and tell our boys, don't we? Like it does matter. It does matter to coaches, to academy directors, whoever's watching. It does matter if you've got someone who's consistent, been there the whole time, and there's nothing better than when you hear of like one of your players is there, and you hear from a third party that they've not been very well last couple of days, but they've made sure they've got there anyway. So like the small 1%, isn't it? Minimum requirements.
Yeah, I think that definitely helps sort of in the academy phase anyway. I know if you miss 1 or 2 sessions, it's all right, but I think that gives me the best chance to make an impression every single session, which is probably why I made it so
most
far.
Definitely, if you're not there training, somebody else is there training.
Exactly, yeah.
They're impressing, they're getting better every day. So it's good that your dad can instill that in you, because as a youngster, I know what my lad's like, I know what I was like. There might be times where you can't be bothered to go.
Yeah.
It might be raining, might be cold outside.
Yeah.
Just getting into those habits.
Yeah, absolutely.
See where it gets you.
I think also with my dad, it's any coach could tell me that I've played well or I've had a really good game, But if I get back into the car or I phone him, and he tells me that I've had a bad game, that will affect me more than anyone else in the world telling me that kind of thing.
Your biggest influence, you say, your
Massive,
dad.
yeah.
We talk about this all the time because we're all dads now. We have the same thing. Like we get in the car afterwards, and I'll say, like, my boys, you were terrible today, and he'll go, "Coach said I played well." I went, the coach is watching everybody. Like he's 11 players. I'm watching you, and I'm telling you, you were terrible today.
Yeah.
I don't mean like I just mean from like standards as an effort. I never criticise him giving the ball away, but just I think your dad's probably the same as what we were like.
Yeah, I know the coaches are kind of the experts, but in my brain, it's sort of like he's my dad. He knows best.
Yeah.
So I think
more than anyone.
Ever since a young age, whenever he'd tell me I'd have a bad game, I'd never feel as bad if a coach did it. I kind of wouldn't care, really. Yeah. If he said you've played well or you've played bad, if he said I've played well, I'd be over the moon. But if he said you've had a bad game, no.
I think that's the important one. If you've played well and he's told you you've played well, you know you have really played well.
Ever, yeah.
It's not,
he's always honest. Like the coaches, they might lie sometimes when you're a kid. They might be like, "Oh, could have done this a little bit better," but he will tell me straight. And even now, he doesn't miss a game.
Yeah.
So it's always
when you speak to him after the game and he says, "Oh, you did well today," you know you've had a world.
Yeah, and then I can go out and have a beer. Yeah. Without feeling bad.
It's mad, isn't it, what you remember? I was like, when I was a kid, we won in a semi-final of the East Anglian Cup, it was called. And I scored a hat-trick. And honestly, to this day, I can remember so much of that game. I don't remember anything at that time. And I remember getting in the car after and everyone was buzzing off me. I was getting all this adulation. I got in the car with my dad and everyone was going to the pub after. And I was just waiting for him to go, "Oh, I'm so proud of you." And he just went, "Just quickly before we get to the pub, if you ever speak to the referee like that again, you won't go on that pitch ever again."
Yeah, good.
And I was like,
I've got
what?
one.
And I came crashing down because I must have just turned to the referee. I must have only been about 12, 13. Must have turned to the referee and said something a little bit rude or untoward. And he was like, "If you ever speak to the referee like that again, you'll never go on a pitch again." I got to the pub and they were all like, "Here he is, the hat-trick hero." And I was like, "Yeah, let's have a coke." Yeah, absolutely devastated. But it's mad what you're...
Yeah, I've had one like that as well where it was a school game. I think it was for Thomas Telford or it may even have been for Dot Hill, my primary school. And I think I got booked or like you, I said something to the referee. And my dad is not one to shout during a game. Like, you know, parents on the sideline, sometimes you can have loud ones. That you're like,
mine either.
But he's quite a quiet person. And the one time I did something to the referee where I might have said something, I can't remember what it was, but he shouted in front of the whole pitch, in front of everyone. And I'm telling you, from this day, I've never done it again. Yeah. I might have a quiet word with the referee or where he can't see, but I've never done anything like that again.
It's a great grounding, though, isn't it? Great grounding, so amazing to hear.
Yeah. But he's not very strict. Like, it might come across like people listening might think, "Oh, he's got a really strict dad." He's really not like that. But it's just his opinion of when I've played or anything like that means more than anyone.
Brilliant.
I did it with my lad this season. He's running the ball down towards the corner, kicks it against the defender, goes out for a corner. Referee said goal kick. He's looked at him and he's belted the ball away. And it was at Leah Cross pitches where I live, and there's like probably about 100 yards behind the goal, so it's gone a long way. So I just screamed off and was like, "Go get that ball now." So the game had to just stop completely, and he skulked off 50, 60 yards to get this ball. But it teaches them more of a lesson than everything else.
Then, doesn't it? Because if they don't get it then, they'll learn further out.
Have you had anything with your boys?
He's flipping it. I've had that all the time with my boys. It's just frustrating because you want, like you say, you want what's best. Yeah. You care. What I say to my boys, my opinion should be important to you because I care more than everybody else. To the coaches, you're like, I know obviously they care a little bit, but you're a number, aren't you? So if you're not doing well, they want rid of you. Like.
But it's a running theme. What we're talking about here, we're not necessarily talking about talent as young kids. We're talking about actually your conduct, how you conduct yourself, and all that, and behaviour. Wilson played in a tournament for his school, and they played against another team that were like a year below. They were the sort of the whipping boys of the tournament, unfortunately, and they started messing around in front of the goal. And Wilson's trying to do like silly, and I went to the teacher. I just said, take him off. He came off, and I went, "Do not do that again. Like, play properly and show some respect to the other team." And he was like, afterwards we sat down and had a conversation. He was like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I wasn't thinking about it." And like, obviously, even like yesterday in the car, he brought it up again. Like, "I remember when you told the teacher to take me off, Daddy." I was like, "Yeah, because can't like belittle people, and like you do things properly and show a bit of respect. And that was nothing to do with football, and his development in football is about him being a person. So when you get that grounding, I think it's a common theme, isn't it?
So if we see Barney's dad telling Phil Parkinson to take him off next season, we know what's happened. We know what's happened.
Yeah, Barney comes off.
Barney's dad is like, get him off, get him off.
Seen enough.
Oh, brilliant.
Any of the good players coming through Shrewsbury then at the same time as you?
I'd say in my youth team that we had a really good youth team. I think probably the main one that most of the fans will know is probably Ryan Sears, John McAtee as well, who's now obviously with Luton in the Premier League. But Searsy, I'm really close with Sears. I still speak to him now and then. But he's probably the standout one. But we genuinely had a good squad. I know most of the lads are still playing in the Welsh League, but no, we had a really good group. But in terms of my age group, I don't really think there was many others that sort of made it to the age that I got to.
What happened to, isn't it? It's ruthless.
So who else then, right? Obviously, you've spoken about your dad and your family being a really big influence. Is there anyone else who's like been a really like big influence? Anyone sitting really close to you?
Dave?
any managers?
Anyone who's 6'5" or anyone?
No one.
But has there been any players or managers like even Phil Parkinson or any of the guys you had previously at Shrewsbury? Is there anyone who within football has been a big influence on you?
I'd say players wise, I'd definitely say Sean Worley. Mainly because he was in my position, and growing up, again, talk about my dad. But he used to take me to almost every Shrewsbury game. And the period that I can most remember from watching as a kid was when Sean was playing, in his first spell, I think it was. I just remember watching him thinking, I'd love to be able to do what he can do. And then eventually, a couple of years later, I'm training with him. And I just used to watch him in training and watch him in games and just think, I'll take that from his game, what am I good at? And I'll add that. And I think I've become good friends with him when he was at Shrewsbury. I don't really keep in touch. We keep in touch now and then when we text sometimes. But he was really big for me just because he was in my position and some of the things he could do, especially in that year when Shrewsbury did really well. I thought he was brilliant.
Sean's a great role model. For anyone who doesn't know,
can I say that's mental? Because I knew Sean Worley when he was 19, and he was a loose cannon, he was a nightmare. But sorry.
So I met him when I went back to Shrewsbury. For anyone who doesn't know, Sean Worley, he was at Shrewsbury for 7-8 years, wasn't he?
Yeah,
did really well. He's still playing at Accrington now.
Yeah.
So I'd have first met Sean properly when he would have been late 20s, early 30s. In his application in training, the way he trained was a ridiculous intensity every single day. Yeah. He was at it. And then going into a match day, he would give absolutely everything in the game as well. But then he was just a nice lad, wasn't he, as well with it?
100%.
And I think he would speak to everyone. He was a lot of humility about him.
Yeah.
Family man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would be someone great to look up to. And I've heard stories when he was young, he wasn't quite like that.
He wasn't like that.
It shows how people playing against him. Playing against him.
You grow as a person, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Playing against him, you could see that something wasn't quite right there. And then all of a sudden, he starts making roads in football. And it's not rocket science. Again, you're talking about from as a kid, these things are instilled in you. And obviously, he started to conduct himself in the right way, be a professional, turning up on time, first on the training ground, I imagine, last to leave.
Now. Mm-hmm.
Literally minimum requirements, isn't it? It's like, no, you don't have to be the most talented to do those things, but to maximise your potential, you do. Mm-hmm. Quality, fair play. So great lad.
At Shrewsbury then, you would obviously got a scholarship in and around the first team, but you needed to go out on loan, didn't you?
Yeah.
So how old were you when that first loan came about? Where was it?
It was on loan to Telford with Gav, actually.
Yeah, took a chance, didn't I?
Was you a first year scholar, second year scholar?
No, I think it was my first year. It might have been my first year pro.
First year
pro. Yeah. That's one thing in football I wish, because I got my pro contract, so it was 6 months into my first year. Now I look back, I wish I would have gone on loan in the second year of my scholar.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's no football like men's football. Playing youth teams every week, it was kind of like I was in my comfort zone a little bit at that point, and I needed that challenge. And then obviously when I came with you, Gav, that was my first taste of actually playing.
What season would that be in terms of year? So Shrewsbury had that really successful season, didn't they? Was it 2017?
That was after.
So that was after
because I went on loan when John Askey was
so it was a season after.
Yeah. So I made my debut against Barnsley for John Askey, and then I think it was almost like a week or two later, I was told that Telford wanted to take me on loan and that it'd be a good option for me and I should go. So I did, and I think it was one of the best things I'd done, to be honest, because I think it's definitely what I needed. Because since before then, obviously, like I just said, just playing youth team football, you're not playing against men. You're not getting used to getting kicked. You're not used to getting abused by fans sometimes. Even just being in a men's changing room. So I'd obviously been in and around the training ground with Shrewsbury for a few years, but I'd never really been sort of in a match day changing room where, 3 points means a lot to people, whereas in the youth team it's like, oh great, we won, but you're not really getting any bonuses, you're not doing this or that, you're not really going up in a league table. I know
everyone's fighting for contracts.
Yeah, exactly. Well. It's just obviously more competitive, and just being around that environment, I definitely needed that.
So at Shrewsbury, you were a right winger / number 10.
Yeah.
And then you went to Gav, and Gav, you played wing backs, didn't you?
Yeah.
So was that your first time really playing that sort of position?
Yeah, so early days at Shrewsbury, I was actually coming through the academy. I was a centre mid / number 10.
Yeah.
I'd never really played out wide. I think I could play anywhere, but I'd never really played on the wing. And then it was when that year, actually, when Shrewsbury did well, when Paul Hurst was there, he said, you won't get in my team unless you play on the wing.
Yeah.
I was like, right, God, I'll play for the youth team as a winger. And actually it suited me quite a lot. So I started playing there, and then that was that point where Paul left, and then John came in, and then came on loan and played. It was right wing back where I played with you, wasn't it, Gav?
Yeah.
How does that come about, Gav? Tell us how it comes about where you get Barney on loan. Like, do you get a phone call, or do you make a phone call? Or
Yeah, so really at the time, the relationships between the two clubs were sort of pretty much dead. I'm quite lucky that sort of knew people, obviously manager at Telford, and sort of knew people within the club to try to resurrect it. Because like Barney's saying there, obviously it was brilliant for him. It was a no-brainer, go and get football. But it's all good for us as well, so we're trying to help each other. Although it's a bit of a punt for me, because you're taking a young lad who's sort of unproven, you've got to really, really back them and be positive that they're going to do well. So, and I've got to get 3 points. So it's about Barney's development. Barney can fail. Barney can easily fail in his loan period and go back to Shrewsbury, and it's like, wow, it's a great experience. Whereas for me, he couldn't fail with me because it's 3 points. So, yeah, I made a few phone calls, and I ended up.
Had you seen him play then? You seen Barney play?
Yeah, so I went to watch in a game. Might have been, it wasn't the 21, was it the 23s or the...
Might have been was it the reserve league?
Yeah, I think it was like the reserve league, yeah. So I went to watch that. And I actually took Barney, I took Ryan Sears, and I took John McAtee from Shrewsbury. So we started to build a really good relationship between the clubs, because my whole thing was like, look, there's no point there being competition, because there's no competition, because Shrewsbury are, at this moment in time, are there. Telford are obviously like in a lower league. So look, let's literally on each other's doorstep. And I get the rivalry, but sometimes you've got to look after each other to help and benefit yourself. So we started building that relationship. And yeah, Barney came in, and again, like I say, it was a bit of a pump for me. And it was like tagged to me that he was a 10. Like everything was like, he's a 10. And like I just went and watched the game, and I didn't think that you were a 10. I thought that you were a sort of a winger, if you like. But with the system I play, I don't like calling them wing backs. I call them outside players. So they're like your old traditional right. Laughing, they've heard this before.
I've heard it.
Yeah. So it's like
I've heard this before.
It's like, they're like your right midfield and left midfielders.
This guy's calling wing backs.
Yeah. I don't know, it's a horrible term. And you can't sell it to Barney to play left wing back.
You're not coming to play wing back. Why? You're playing outside right. Right. And this looks a lot like wing back to me.
Yeah. But what I was saying was it gives someone, like whoever's playing in that position, gives them clarity. So if you're a winger, if you're playing like as what they call a wing back, it gives you clarity in your position, and actually you receive the ball between the fullback and the winger, so actually you get a lot more of the ball. And then in terms of your defensive duties, where they're really simple, because it's just a horizontal recovery through the back line.
So a long one.
Yeah, well, no,
very long one.
Not the way we sort of did it, because it was almost like you're sort of doing a job and a half. You sort of like, my job's sort of defending, but then I'm getting ready to bounce out, and it always worked well. And Ryan's really quick, really, really sharp. So, and when we sort of all understood, we were on the same page, it worked really well, didn't it? Yeah. And then I would have Barney on the right with Henry Cowans, and Henry was slightly more defensive and Barney was more attacking. And then you'd have the similar two on the left. And it just really worked well. So there'd be games where Barney was like maybe not in the game, or we need to shut up shop a little bit more, so I'd rest him for the next game, or I'd bring him on as an impact player. But then it became clear then I couldn't keep him out of the team, and it just had to be pure consistency. I've got a little bit of stick for leaving you out in one game, but it was all geared to
fans. You mean?
Yeah, but it was all geared.
Fans excited.
Yeah, but like you say, look, there's not many players that are consistent at that level. You've got a young lad who's playing almost like a winger, like right wing back position, and it's like outside right. But what you need is I needed him to be an impact that day. So I just went to you, didn't I? I said, look, be patient. You're going to come on after an hour, and when you come on, I want 30 minutes. I want 90 minutes working 30 minutes. and you came on and crossed 2 and we won 2-0. So it's like, or 3-1 or whatever it was. So you really flourished in that because it was real clear messages, and then you got really built up a level of consistency then, I thought. And then I just couldn't keep him out of the team. Then there couldn't be any of this, you're going to be an impact, because you're 8s every week, 8s and 9s, weren't you?
So what did you get from that then, Barney? What did you get from the loan spell?
Everything. I genuinely think,
different player.
Yeah, completely different. Not even just physically, but mentally as well.
Yeah,
I think
massive.
And what I actually really enjoyed during that spell was playing for a manager who really seemed, I know now, but really wanted me there. Where obviously in the youth team, you like I said before, you sort of it's not really a challenge. There's a bit of a challenge there. And at that point in my career at Shrewsbury, I was obviously a young player, and I wasn't really going to be playing in the first team. Maybe a cup game here, a cup game there. But to go there and feel wanted and do really well and see all the fans supporting me like that, it was definitely a good starting block for my career when I went back.
So then you come back to Shrewsbury, and then did you make your debut for Shrewsbury after that?
I think I made it before then, went on loan and then came back, and then I came on loan again. Is that right?
Yeah,
I think. And then, but there was a point in the second loan where, do you remember I went back because of Sam Ricketts?
Yeah.
Where Sam Ricketts came in and I played one game but came straight back.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he could just...
He wanted to have a look at you.
Wanted to have a look at me, and it was
Was it away at Port Vale?
Away at Port Vale, yeah. Scored a penalty. Top corner.
You played well. You played well as well, didn't you?
Yeah,
you played well.
I played in the 10 there, actually.
Because I remember, I think you called me after the game and I was like, how did it go? And you were like, yeah, really well. And I was like, a bit like buzzing, but then I was a bit like, ugh.
But you didn't play again after that?
No, I genuinely think...
If everybody done what you've done, you won 11-2. Was it?
Yeah, I genuinely think Sam Ricketts just wanted me to see me for that one game, and then just went straight back, because I think he knew that I was in the best place for my career at that point, just playing games and playing well.
You go back to that loan spell, because Telford were only training twice a week then, Tuesday nights, Thursday nights. What did your week look like then in terms of your trainings? Are you in at Shrewsbury on the Mondays?
So I'd train at Shrewsbury on the Monday.
I was tearing my hair out, by the way. I was losing. Just because his loads. So I'm just trying to manage his load. And obviously, from their perspective, they're like, it's a lowly Telford. So, if he goes and plays there, like he can. So they were thrashing you on like a Friday, and I'm like going, like he's got a game tomorrow with me, and that, because obviously it'd be a bit more low impact, wouldn't it, on a Friday? I was tearing my hair out a little bit when I.
So Monday, I'd train at Shrewsbury with normally a Monday session is where the players who haven't played do a bit more. Yeah. So I'd be doing a bit more on the Monday, even though I played on the Saturday, just to get my fitness up a bit more.
Losing my head.
And then,
but you wanted to impress as well.
Oh yeah, of course.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have chance to impress.
New manager, you want to be in training. I'm out of sight, out of mind, really. Yeah. So I wanted to go in. And even on the days where we were training with Telford, I'd go in. I'd go in and do gym.
I was gonna bring that up, because that's one thing I found out about his mentality really early on is. You would come in and I'd be like, you're not training tonight? He's like, yeah, but I just want to come and do a bit of a session. Yeah. And he'd be in the gym doing all his weights, your stretching, all your recovery stuff, making use of your time, because there's so many, 18, 19-year-olds at that point, you'd be like, have a day at home on FIFA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you were coming in every day, I think mixing with all the lads.
Yeah. I think part of it is not only did I want to go in and work hard myself, but it's, like I just said, out sight, out mind. If I'm not there, the manager's probably not even thinking about me.
Good foresight to have that.
Yeah, so I wanted to be in, just show my face, show that I'm still here, go in, show that I'm actually working hard, that I want to be at the football club. So I'd go do gym on the Tuesday, train on the Tuesday night. Wednesday I'd go into the training ground, even though Shrewsbury would have a day off as well. Go in and do gym, maybe a little bike or something like that, recovery. Thursday morning I'd go back in again for gym. Thursday night I'd train.
Doing loads of bench press like you Sammy was.
Still wasn't getting any muscle. And then Friday, obviously, like you just said, I'd be training, be getting battered, and then play on the Saturday, and then just keep doing that, really.
I must have put in so many calls just saying, like, Sam, can we just like bring his load down? Yep, no problem, mate, we'll sort that for you. And then I'd say, how'd you get on? Oh yeah, like did the full session. Like,
that'll be Barney as well, though, his mentality.
I think it was part of it was probably me just saying, the coach is coming over and say, do you want to do this bit, Barney? I'll be like, in the back of my mind, I'm going,
not really.
No. Because you don't want to say no, just because, like,
again, going
it's
back to
career.
With your dad, early doors as a kid, instilling that work ethic into you. Yeah, amazing.
Is Sam Ricketts keeping in touch with you then, Gav, asking how he's getting on?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, me and Sam had like a good. Not so much about that. Like I was getting to see him Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and obviously I'd want to sort of talk to Sam more than he'd want to talk to me, because obviously.
Does he not want to know? Is he like? Are you still in? Is he still in Sam Ricketts?
Yeah, we said he would say to me, "Oh, can you send all the games through and all of that?" And obviously he'd ask my opinion and all that. Yeah, so I spoke to Sam quite a lot. Like me and Sam practically brokered the Dan.
So Sam Ricketts at that time he's still got you in his long-term plans.
Yeah.
As far as you know, he's
as far as
in his
I know,
plans, and he's working on you.
Yeah.
So what about the Gloucester loan? What happened there?
That was a bit of a strange one. So we skipped forward quite a bit here. So
sorry.
No. So it was that was during the COVID times. So that was I think that was under Cottrell. It was still under Cottrell. So I'd played for the first 6 months with Sam. Well, I say played, but
So take us back. And so you're back at Shrewsbury, and so Sam Ricketts is like, he likes you, and he's put you in the team.
So I'd come back, and then the season had finished, but I think it was when COVID was just starting. So my contract was finished. So they give me another year at the time.
Finished in March, didn't it? The season got cut short in March.
So then we had our decisions, and he said, "Oh, look, I'll give you another year to prove yourself. We don't know when we're going to come back, but keep fit when we do come back. All of this, go again in pre-season, work hard, be at the front of the running, that kind of thing." So then I started playing for almost the first time where I was getting a little bit more regular game time. So I played in the Carabao, I played in the Papa Johns. They're the same thing now, aren't they?
No.
Are they different?
Yeah.
So I was playing all the cup competitions. I was starting in, and then I was actually for the first time in my career sort of starting in the league, which I hadn't really had. So then he obviously at the first 6 months he was there, we were sort of towards the bottom of the table, and he got sacked. And then Steve come in and just didn't really fit in the plans. I don't think. Sort of, it came to the point where I wasn't even in like the match day squads. Whereas with Sam, if I wasn't starting, I'd be on the bench. But when he come in, I just wasn't involved.
Sam started that season 4-3-3, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He had you as a winger, and I remember you trained at Carden Park quite a lot, didn't we, at the time? And you were like ultra impressive. You wanted to play like narrow wingers. You had a kind of like almost like Liverpool. He wanted them to really be running forward, running direct, running inside.
Yeah.
And he's an intelligent footballer, Barney, so like making clever runs. And I think he was still probably a little bit unsure how much to play, you when to play, and things like that. There's a real clamour from the rest of the players, like Barney's training the best, he's got to play, he's the best. You and Shaw Morley.
Yeah.
Play both of you, but then Jason Cummins, remember as well, who wanted him to play him off the left as well. So he's kind of alternating between all of you. And then once you hit a bit of tough times, which we did, we weren't doing very well, started to go back to 3 at the back, 5 at the back, and then all of a sudden you go for experience then, don't you?
Yeah. He's like, you're always going to get sacrificed as the young killers, especially as a winger as well. Like, as soon as it's a tough time, you're the first person to get dragged.
But you were still in and around it though, weren't you? You're still coming on and things like that.
Yeah, still coming on and I'd finally obviously started to make a few starting appearances, which I hadn't had before, and thought I did quite well in some of them. But then obviously he left, and then Steve come in, but I wasn't even in the match day squads. Yeah. So
how was that then, Barney? Because that's thoughts.
At the time I didn't really get much feedback really. I know David Longwell was sort of coming into the setup at that time and tried to bounce off him quite a lot because I'd train with the youth team sometimes when he come in. So he'd sort of give me pointers and tips, but when I asked about sort of why it is I'm not involved, he just said just go and speak to the manager, which is fair enough. Which I'm old enough at that point where I should just be able to knock on his door and say, how come I'm not playing? So I decided to do it. I just knocked on his door and said, but it was sort of awkward timing as well because the team had started to win games. So as a young player as well, and when the team's winning, there's not really, even I'll admit, there's not really a lot I can say. Yeah. So I was like, look, I understand that the team are winning and you've come in and we've started off really well. But before I was in the match day squads and now I'm just nowhere to be seen. Like, why is that? That's the only thing.
That's a reasonable question.
Good substitute to have, definitely.
Which I'd ask any manager if I wasn't playing. I'd just say, what is the reason? I think as a footballer, you just want honesty.
And you said, what can I do to get in?
What was the response, Barney?
So he didn't really give me anything to sort of work on, or he didn't say, this is what you're doing wrong. Yeah. It was just sort of, he said, look, as you've said, the team are winning. So I can't really change it at the moment, but just keep going. And at the time, it was like I'd rather have just been told, like, what am I doing wrong? Like as a player, like I said, you just want honesty.
All you want is honesty. You just want to say, look, I don't think you're defensively strong enough. I don't think you're getting enough crosses in. I don't think you're impacting the game enough. Whatever it is, just tell me why I'm not in the team.
I understand that maybe he just didn't want to speak to me at that point because I kind of didn't have a leg to stand on because the team are winning, but it was like...
You wouldn't do that, would you?
As a player and the age I was at, I think I would have just preferred, like, look, Barney, you're not in my plans. Or if you work on this, and this, then maybe we'll have another conversation where if you improve on that, I think you could maybe work yourself into it. But
I can tell you exactly what's going through his mind. He might, in some unforeseen circumstance, need you. If he tells you that you're not in there, he can just on one given day say, right, you're done. Whereas there's no need for him to give that up. Whereas for me, I just think like, again, Steve's like obviously very experienced and would have done it a zillion times, and he's obviously been successful. Like you rightly say, I always promise myself that if I ever did go into coaching or management, I'll just be honest with the players. And I think sometimes it's not what they want to hear, but at least they walk away going like feeling hard done by, but at least they go and go, well, fair play, I think, told me the truth.
From Barney's point of view, it's just unfortunate timing as well. So Steve Cottrell's come in, he's again gone, need experience, need to get out of this, 3-5-2, hard to play against. And he went and won his first 3 games, didn't he?
Exactly, yeah.
Doing real. But then very shortly after, he got COVID bad, didn't he?
Yeah.
So you probably only had a month of Steve Cottrell there. So for him to probably hasn't seen enough of you anyway.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, he's gone.
Now I look back at it, it's like, I do understand why he didn't play me. I completely understand. I've got no hard feelings towards Steve or anything like that. He just told me to keep going. Like the team were doing well. He's been brought in to keep Shrewsbury Town in the league. And if he doesn't think that putting me in the team is going to help that, then I completely understand. So
But like you say though, like again, he's got to look after himself, and absolutely he's doing all the right things. But just a little bit of maybe positive, constructive criticism. Just to maybe say, look, Barney, again, like Sam says, you're not really my type of player. However, like staying around it, these are the things you could be working on. Might need you. Look, if I end up bringing you on, like putting you in the squad, and you get on for 20 minutes, I want to see, like change my mind. At least then you can get a bit. You either sink or swim, then, didn't you?
Yeah, I did make one appearance under him, but it was I think it was I can't remember what cup game it was. I can't remember who it was against, but I was on the bench and sort of all of the fringe players. It was kind of like, the way I saw it was kind of like a trial match. Yeah. There was loads of lads who were on loan at the club, but he maybe was unsure whether he was going to keep them around, so they played in that game. But I was on the bench on that game, and I came on for sort of like 15 minutes. Yeah, and I think I came on as a 10 or something like that. But even then, I think it just wasn't enough for me to show him. And
then the end of that season, then that was the end of your contract, and then there was another contract after that.
No, was there one
more year?
No, that was so when Steve was there, I was only there I was gone after that. So
How you coping with that? Is that your first setback in football then? Because you'd never been released. You'd come through Shrewsbury. You'd never been let go or anything. That was your first time. Whereas actually, I'm not in the squad now. Questioning yourself a little bit.
Yeah. So if we just go back a little bit, obviously, I know you mentioned the Gloucester loan. Sort of went there during. So it was when Steve actually got COVID. So he got COVID and was in hospital really bad. And then I was kind of still in the same boat. I was just training. Not really doing a lot of the weekends apart from going out with my mates, which is not like how you can do at that point. So I was just kind of in this loop where I was like, I kind of knew I was going to get released at the end of the year, but I was just having to go along with it, which was actually quite a horrible situation where you just kind of like just waiting for it. Like I'd rather just tell me now kind of thing. Yeah. But I thought, right, I can't do anything about it. Like I'm not going to play for Shrewsbury. So what's the other option? I'll just go on loan. So then I tried to. Obviously, at that time when Steve was ill, it was really hard to communicate with him because obviously he was really ill. But then everything was going through sort of like Albie, and then it'd go to Steve, and then Steve would have to go back to him and then come back. So it took quite a while.
Aaron Wilbraham.
Aaron Wilbraham,
assistant manager.
So it actually took quite a while for me to go on loan. And at this point, COVID was like getting worse and worse again. Yeah. I think that was the second time where it was sort of getting really bad. So then Gloucester come in, and I went there, and I was sort of like, I was pretty much living in a hotel for a month, but I actually really enjoyed it. Like,
by yourself,
I just didn't have to speak to anyone. I'd take Met
in a hotel on your own for a month.
I love the sound of that. I could do with that.
But
football wise, you found it hard there.
No, do you know what? I actually really enjoyed it there because it was, again, like I said before, it was kind of a place where I felt wanted, even though I played one game in the league because it was called off for COVID. But we sort of played 5 friendly games after that because it was still like, oh, do we carry on the league? Do we not? So they just stopped the league instead of cancelling it. They just stopped it. I don't know if you remember for a couple of weeks. Yeah. So we were just playing friendly games, but it was with a good group of lads and a manager who wanted me to play.
Who was the manager there at the time?
It's like if they believe you, though, it's everything again. Isn't it? So you feel a bit wanted.
It's just confidence as well, I think.
And confidence, which we
playing football with a smile on your face and being happy. That's like
Paul McGrath. Was it Paul McGrath?
That's how I think as many Pauls.
It's Paul something. I'll
Paul Parker. It's Paul Parker.
Yeah. Paul Maleg.
And then he got released.
No, so season got cancelled. There's a little bit more to go. Yeah, the season got cancelled. So I went back. I was like, I don't want to be here. I was like, because again, I knew I was going to get released.
Horrible that when it's your hometown club.
Yeah,
and all that,
I was training and I loved all the lads. Like the group we had there was a couple of lads who I've really got.
Dave's still there at that time.
Yeah, I think you were.
Yeah, I was there. I left the same time as you.
And I was really close with Dan Udo.
I was the one.
Like, is he turned up again? He has. How old's he now?
I was on my foot in an ice bucket, mate.
Yeah,
every single day.
Getting through it.
How are you, Edo? He's like that. Every day.
Stiff.
Yeah. So I went back and I was just like, I wasn't happy in football. I wasn't happy. So again, I just wanted to get out of there as quick as I could. Genuinely, just because I wasn't playing, and by then it had kind of, I don't want to say I lost the love for the club, because I didn't, because I was there from 8 to 21. So I loved the club massively, but it was just like I kind of almost become frustrated with the club, also with myself, because I'd come that far, and the goal was just to be, I want to be a Shrewsbury Town regular, I want to be a Shrewsbury Town legend. And obviously that goal was not coming true, so it was quite a frustrating time. So yeah, I just wanted to leave and play football again. That's the main thing. I think most footballers, when you're playing games, you're at your most happiest.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just had kind of like apart from the period at Telford where I was really happy because I was playing games, I sort of had a few years where I was just like in and out of playing games.
Disillusion with football.
Yeah, so I'd go to Telford, play games in a row, I'd be like, wow, this is what football is. Now go back to Shrewsbury, I'll be in and out, and
it's not feeling like you don't feel like you belong though in the same way. You're playing every week.
Through my career, I've seen it happen so much with young lads, and you get frustrated with yourself.
Yeah.
But me looking from the outside in, regardless of who the manager is and what happens, sometimes there's nothing you will do that will get you in that team.
Yeah.
Even if you're training the best every single day, you will not be in that team just because the team is set. They want to go a different way. You didn't fit Steve Cottrell's system really. He was 3-5-2 and you didn't see you as a wing back, did he?
No.
So it was like, where do we play Barney? And it's probably the best thing which happened to you that you did get released. It's quite easy giving you another year.
Yeah.
I think for Shrewsbury you should have got another year, and there's so much upside to keep you. But for your own development, that's what you need sometimes, a clean break. Yeah. You've done all you can, you're not going to play, and then you can then start to, as scary as it might have been for you, like what's next? Do you know what I mean? I'm leaving a League One club. I'm going to have to go down. Can I get myself back up? All those things going through your mind. But that's where you kind of your own personality and your dedication, that's what shines through at that point.
Yeah. So and then just after the Gloucester one, to make it kind of even worse, I started. Solihull got in touch, who obviously I went to before Wrexham, and I joined there on loan. And it was supposed to be till the end of the season, but I only ended up playing 5 games. But I played really well in the 4 games, scored a goal, I think, as well, set a few up. And then in the 5th game, we were playing Barnet away, and just made a run in behind. I don't know if you knew about this, but my injury with my eye.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah.
So you'll remember it.
Yeah,
Remember coming to training? It was like,
he had no eye.
Yeah, pretty much. So running down the line, and then it was Lee Vaughan actually. Did he play on you?
He was at Barnet, I know Vaughan really well.
I don't think he meant it, but so
he did.
Like I say, I know Vaughan really well.
Questionable, but
do you know what? What I will say is he texted me straight after and said, "Oh, I know he's one of your lads. Can you just let him know?"
Yeah, no, he texted me as well.
Well, I sent your number, and he was like, "Going, mate, I'm devastated. I've caught him there proper. Just want to let him know. It's like see if he's all right."
So I've checked my run, gone in behind.
Horrible.
And he's
Sorry, I've heard this story before.
I'm in front of him. I'm going to have to try and describe this in iCloud. Right, so
on video as well.
On YouTube as well. It's on YouTube.
Yeah. I'm running in behind. He's sort of behind me, and he's gone to pull, say, my right shoulder. So he's yanked my shirt back, and my shoulder's gone back, and I've sort of almost ended up facing him. Yeah. So I'm facing, and I've gone to the ground, and he's obviously had to jump over me because I've gone to the floor, and he's trying to scramble over, and the back, I don't know which foot it was, but his boot has just gone straight right in there, in my eye. And I just remember
studs as well.
Yeah, studs right in my eye. I just remember I heard a little click. I was like, that's not good. So lying on the floor, and then the physio's come on. And I just remember going, the physio's called Holly at the time, and I went, Holly, I'm going to be sick. Yeah. So I've sat up, gone like that, thought, I've probably just like, I don't know what I've done. But then blood just drip down onto my white shorts, and it just covers my, I'm like,
panic.
Right. So she's like, stand up, we've got to get you off, and walk off like that, all over the place. So anyway, long story short, I've got a scar now just inside my eye where the doctors, when I got there at that point, they said it was like almost 1 or 2 centimetres to the right and you've lost your eye. So I'm like lying on the hospital bed, the doctors are saying that, I'm like, in a hospital in Barnet, it's locked down, none of my family can come. My mum was like ringing the chief executive, like, I'm coming down. But they can't come in. So my mum was like, she was going into overdrive. Yeah. But yeah, I fractured my frontal sinus, it's called, which for the listeners, it's like your eyebrow, pretty much. Yeah. So that bone pretty much collapsed in, and
oh my god,
had to have it. I was going to have surgery for that. So, but they said we're not doing the surgery anymore because it would be too destructive to your face. So I was like, yeah, that's fine with me. No,
yeah,
that's fine.
I'll leave that then.
Stitch it up.
For me face, I think I'll leave that.
So did you have the surgery or not? I love you.
Oh mate, it was a nasty gash. I remember you coming to training. I remember we'd obviously heard about it, and Jordan Beach, who was a physio at the time, like saying he's so lucky he didn't lose his eye, so like he wasn't blind.
Yeah. And then I came in and. I was so eager to just get back playing. I think I was deluded because I was just like, I'll be back in 3 weeks. 3 weeks, I'll be fine. But like, I went back to Beachy at the time at Shrewsbury, and they have to do the SCAT tests, which are the concussion tests at the time. The doctors in the hospital said, no, you're not. There'll be no concussion there. I got back to Shrewsbury, did a SCAT test, and SCAT test, obviously you deal with like numbers, don't you? And they say words to you and you've got to repeat them back.
But you'd have done a SCAT test at the start of the season where they record your baseline, so where you're at normally.
Yeah. So then I go back in, and for I think it was 4 or 5 weeks straight, I'd be doing this SCAT test, and he'd say the words at the start, and then you have to say the words at the end.
Yeah.
If you can remember them. He was like, "You've just made up about 3 words every single SCAT test," and I was like, "I'm never going to play again." Oh, no. But no, that was one of the toughest times of my career. Genuinely, I'd say that 6 months when Steve come in, and obviously with going out on loan and then the eye injury, it was just sort of like I kind of just wanted the season
contract ending.
Yeah, contract ending. Kind of just wanted the season to be over, to be honest, and I think I was genuinely ready for a fresh start.
Yeah. And did you feel like you'd done enough at Solihull because really that's the only spell of games people would have seen you play?
Yeah.
So did you feel you did well enough in those games that you were going to get a move off the back of it?
Yeah. So actually, the chief executive came with me to the hospital because I think he kind of knew I wasn't going to be coming back to the club after I did my eye. So he was like, at the end of the year, if nothing comes of it from Shrewsbury, I'll be in touch. So I kind of knew at that point that there'd be an offer from Solihull there, so that was good.
It's disappointing when you've been there for Shrewsbury, though, from the age of 8, to 21, and like bearing in mind the success you've had now, like you have to leave, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah.
I know it's just the way football is, Dave. I know you just twisted your face there, so you're obviously going to say that. But it's heartbreaking, isn't it, when you've got a local lad?
Oh, definitely.
Like, why on earth, if you're Shrewsbury Town, like, can you not just give this lad another year?
And it was
no sentiment.
I generally think, obviously, I was inside the club at the time, so I knew you probably better than most. It was so obvious that for Shrewsbury, there's no downside to give Ryan Barnett next year, because you'd have probably taken it in terms of.
And I know you're
ready for a fresh start, but having that security, and if I was the manager or the CEO or whatever at the time, I'd say, look, I want to give you another year. We're going to put an option on it just to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
I want you to have a pre-season, do your best. If you're not in it, we'll let you go out on loan.
Yeah.
So you'd have definitely given them another year.
Oh, 100%.
Because influence at the time then.
No, I wasn't there. I got released as well. I got released as well.
I was in. Dave had no clout at all. I was particularly shocked because the
community. You were Telford as well.
Yeah, I think so.
I think you might have just left.
Yeah, I think from my point of
consent.
view, yeah, absolutely. From my point of view, when you'd gone back and I'd obviously had communications and we'd spoken about the loans, and it was very much like we're really pleased with the outcome and the experience he's gained, and you obviously you got a little bit of notoriety around Telford, and they loved you, which was well earned. I was surprised because they were very very much talking you up, like sorry, good England there. They were talking you up greatly. You know, it was all about great prospects. He's got that experience now. We're expecting him to kick on. So yeah, it was a shock to me. And again, only knowing what I know of you, like my particular opinion was that you'd kick on again, and gladly you did. But we'll come on to that in a minute.
I think it was tough to hear it, but I knew it was coming, so I wasn't. It sounds bad, but I wasn't too down about it because I kind of had 6 months to get my head around it.
That I'm going to be. Wasn't a shock.
Yeah, it was obviously when you told you're going to be released and you've got to find somewhere else. The only place that I've known.
You get used to it, mate.
Hopefully there won't be as many times as what we've had, mate. But
well, the only place I've knew from 8 till 21.
Yeah, exactly.
The only club I'd known really. So.
But again,
I'd grown to love the club just because of being there for so long, being around it, making friends, and it's like.
How was your family? How was your dad at this point?
I think they weren't surprised because and I genuinely think they were happy for me a little bit because I think they saw how it made me, how I was in that last 6 months because I was just
a bit of relief maybe.
Yeah. I think they knew the kind of headspace I was in going into football, like just training and stuff like that, and I think they knew that leaving would potentially be the best thing for me.
And again, though, you'd been there such a long time from being like a little boy until, you know, a grown man. That's why those loan experiences are so important, aren't they? Because again, you're going to move on now, and you moved on then to Solihull for a couple of years. But to imagine if you just hadn't come out of the building at all, that would have been a wild experience, and then you'd have probably had a transition. Whereas actually, you've had a couple of loan spells at Telford, really successful. Gloucester was actually worthwhile doing, although, like you said, it was quite strange.
Yeah.
And then the Solihull one. So then you get your 2-year deal at Solihull, who like are a really big club in a national league. Yeah. Great facilities, great infrastructure, ex-club of mine, so I know it well, and it's really kicked on since I was there. How did that all come about?
So, like I said before, they would finish the loan, and the chief executive was like, "Look, if you get nothing at the end of the year, then we'll have talks with your agent." So it was actually quite an interesting summer, to be honest, because. And obviously moving a little bit forward again, Paul Hurst came in. He was at Grimsby at the time, so I'd spent time with him, obviously at Shrewsbury, and he called me. He called me before Solihull actually. So he called me before Solihull called and said, "Look, I know you've been released, and I've really rated you as a player, and I can't believe they've got rid of you, kind of thing, and I'd like to offer you a contract." So I was like, "Whoa.
That's a long way."
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So it was Paul Hurst, the Paul we were talking about, was it?
No.
We'll just say it is for now.
Yeah.
So he come in, and it ended up being pretty much between Solihull and Grimsby, and I'd say it came right down to the wire. They both kind of wanted a decision. I tried to delay it as much as I could because the only real downside of Grimsby was
living there.
Was the location, and in the end, I think I just came to the decision that I just wasn't ready for that. Maybe, I don't know why, and me and my family, whenever there's a football decision, we'll sit down around a table, we'll write down pros and cons, and we'll go with our gut, which is what we did at that point.
Yeah,
and it was really tough because obviously I really like Paul just because he gave me so many chances to train with the first team, and it was my first cup debut with him, and I really liked him and Doigie as a pair, and training every day with him. They sort of drilled hard work. They made you, which is obviously we talk about my dad with hard work and stuff like that. I actually really, even though the running was tough, you felt so good after it. So it was kind of between them two. And I think literally, like I just said, the Grimsby was just the location, to be honest, and that was tough.
You haven't got me listers in Grimsby anyway, have we? No one wants to live in Grimsby.
Well, and you'd already experienced Solihull as well. So there's a comfort zone there, isn't there?
Yeah, so I knew most of the players, but it was a new manager, which is quite interesting because I'd never spoke to this manager before, but I think the people at the club and the assistant manager stayed from when I was on loan. Yeah. So I think
do you remember his name?
Yeah, James Quinn. So I spoke to him on the phone.
James Quinn used to play for West Brom.
I think he did used to play. Yeah, yes.
I know Quinny. I used to play with him.
Yeah, he's a legend. Yeah. I love him. He was so good for me. He's another one who's really influential. I know I've not talked about coaches who are influential, but him and Gav. Not saying that because you're here. But Neil Ardley, Eric Ramsey, I'm moving on. But so yeah, I spoke to Neil Ardley, who's at Solihull, and he was sort of like, the key thing for me leaving Shrewsbury was I want to play as many games as I can. That was what me and my family decided, because I'd had a handful of appearances in the National League North, I'd had a handful of appearances in the league. So if I can try and get a base amount of games where I've played and done well, then that gives me the best chance to move up the leagues. So after having the 2 conversations with both managers, I decided with Solihull, and I rung Paul Hurst and gave him my decision, which honestly I've never been so nervous for in my life. I don't know why, but I think it was just because I was letting him down a little bit.
I remember that feeling as a player.
Before the call, it took me like at least an hour just to even press, right, let's call him now, because I was just like, I was getting so nervous. I didn't even think I'd be able to speak, because like, for him to put his trust in me to say, look, I want to offer you this and I want you to come and do this for my team. I'd never been in this situation, leaving a club and having to let down managers. Obviously, I had calls with other managers, and I think I had options of trials in League Two and a couple who wanted to look at me, but I needed something concrete, and I wanted to play every game. So I got that best feeling from Solihull, so I just decided to go for Solihull.
That's amazing, that. I'll tell you about Quinny afterwards, because I used to travel in with him from Northampton and that, but we'll do it better.
Great guy.
Keep it clean. So obviously at Solihull then, you know, you're there, you've got something concrete, you're playing. Like, what is it that made you flourish? You mentioned Quinny there, and you mentioned about playing games. Is there anything else that really helped you flourish? Because you really did, didn't you? You really kicked into gear there.
I genuinely would say the manager was massive for me. Massive.
Neil Ardley.
Yeah. Like, I owe him a lot. He's just like, he just got me personally, and just supported me. Like, I would almost play every game. I think he understood that, you know, some managers give out hairdryers, and sometimes they won't really do it to certain players because they know how they'll respond. He never really, I think he just, stuff like that, he never really had a massive go at me. He just pulled me to the side and be like, look, you got to be better. Got to be better doing this, doing that. I think I responded. So I think he just knew me as a player and as a person. And then secondly, we had such a good group. Like, I'm still best mates with some of the people there. That's why when I eventually left, it was like one of the hardest decisions ever, mainly because I love the manager. And when you've got a changing room that you love being in, I used to go into football and just stress-free, just so comfortable. I've not really had that at many clubs. Shrewsbury a little bit at points, but in terms of like the longevity of it, just walking in, like, I know the manager loves me. I love the boys there. This is such a good place to be. We're doing well in the league. It was like just one of them years, you know. I think as a player, you only have a couple in your career, maybe. Obviously, I've had 2 now, really, but you look at it and you look back to them years, and I think I'll always look back at the Solihull years as some of the best in my life.
But the manager's got you, hasn't he, psychologically, emotionally, so like it's giving you confidence, and with that confidence comes success, then success, motivation, and just all snowball.
I think as well with you as well, Gav. It was sort of me as a player. I quite like when you probably started it, actually. You sort of kind of give me the freedom in the final third. So if I give it away, if I try and take someone on and give it away, you wouldn't have a go at me. So then I could just feel like I could try anything, which as a winger is all you want. Love, because you want to try a skill, you want to put a cross in. And
the theory behind that for me is like calculated risks. Like as a left side centre half, my pass completion rate, well maybe not me, but a left side centre half, a pass completion rate would be really high because just give it to your left back. Whereas you've got midfielders who are trying to play through lines, you've got like attackers who are trying to. I remember like when we played together, Sam, and like you'd say to me, I'm not going to get past him all the time, but I'll tell you what, every single time I'm going to like
do not give up a chance for one-on-one. I think on the wing, I'd say it now to me boys, and that, like, it infuriates me. I'm like, do not, if you're on the wing, you might. How many times you get like one-on-one in space? Not that many. You cannot give up that chance to have a go, especially if you work it out quickly. If you've got a bit more, you can get past him. You're quicker or stronger. Don't waste it.
But it's why that formation suited you as well, because it, like I say, it allowed you to be high up the pitch. And if you did give the ball away, because we would recover, we'd recover horizontally, be like a back four. So it was never a problem for me. Like, obviously, a player, any player, I always say, if you're playing the ball backwards or sideways and you give the ball away, it's like cardinal sin. You can't give the ball away doing that. But if you're playing forward, it's a calculated pass. It's going to get intercepted. It's not going to come off every time. And it baffles me where everybody gets emotional about it so much, you know. And I just felt like, and I remember it vividly, having conversations with you about just going, listen, get the ball in advance of the mid phase and just go and express yourself, because we can't lose. And all they're going to do, remember this well, they'll kick it out for a throw, you'll get a corner, you'll get a free kick, or you'll get past them. Like, but it's very rare they're going to come out of the ball with you, Barney. And like, even if they did dispossess you, you had such a great counter press that you normally get back and get a little touch in, or do you know what I mean? So it works so well for you.
Yeah. So 2 years at Solihull.
I think it was a year and a half.
But your full season there, you went close to getting promoted.
Yeah. So we got to the player final that year. Yeah, we actually lost to Grimsby. So
remember it? Yeah.
Paul Hurst comes back.
Paul Hurst,
Good old Paul.
1-0 Paul.
But it was that was literally the tightest game ever.
We were 20 minutes away from League Two, which a club for Solihull is mental.
Incredible.
I remember it.
They'd already had a promotion, hadn't they, from the north? Oh, that was us.
Oh, yeah, was that you? Yeah.
We got them promoted and then like passed the baton to you. you couldn't quite get it over the line, could you?
25 years later.
Yeah, it was a century later.
You've been impacting games, you played really well, and then, so obviously this following season, you started off again on really well the following season.
Really happy, content.
Yeah, really happy. Still playing my best football.
You were like, obviously I was keeping a real close eye. You were flying at this point, weren't you?
Yeah,
all the reports.
I think I just had extreme confidence at that point, because I knew for once in my career I'd played regular games and played well, so I was like, right, I can play. As weird as it sounds, because I'd not really had that confirmation before in my own head, where like to think can I play a run of games?
Your dad's telling you you're playing well.
Whoa, don't go too far.
So I'd never really had that run of games, and I'd done it and had a good season. So I kind of just continued it into the next season, and sort of we kept quite a lot of players from the year before, but we started off well, and then sort of we was in around the playoffs and things like that, but then we kind of hit some really bad form. Sort of, I think it was around Christmas time, where I think we lost away to Wrexham actually 5-0, and from there we just like skyrocketed down. Yeah, we were sort of still in and around the playoffs, but it was we just, you know, when you just can't get out of a rut, and we were just like, what is going on? And that eventually comes on to the point where how good the manager was for me, because when the Wrexham move did come about, he didn't stand in my way. He almost kind of said, look, you can't.
So tell us what point in the season that was and how you first found out about the interest.
So I'd started off the season really well, sort of picked up my form from last year, and then obviously we dipped in form, but it was sort of around January where I first heard about it through my agent. He was just like, there's been rumours. Like, my agent won't really sometimes tell me the whole stuff because he didn't want me to overthink about it. So I don't know what was going on behind the scenes at that point. But yeah, so I heard about it in the January, and he was just like, they might come in for you. Just have that in your mind a little bit. But that kind of stuff at that point, I don't think I'm one of them players that you can read all about stuff and hear all about stuff, but that I feel like now it doesn't really affect me, because it didn't affect me then, and it hasn't so far. So I heard about it in the January, and it just went quiet. So at this point, to be honest anyway, I had a year left on my contract at Solihull, and because I'd had a good year, me and my family were kind of like, right, what's the plan now? And Solihull then came in with they actually offered me a new deal. Actually, while I think about it, they offered me a new deal before the turn of the year. Were
they aware of the interest, do you think?
I feel like they knew that there either had been a conversation or there must have been something to prompt them. Yeah. So they then offered me a deal, but I just turned it down immediately, just because I wanted to keep my options open.
What were they like with you, Barney? Because obviously, like, that's hard, isn't it? When they offer you something and you turn it down.
This is what I mean by it was the toughest decision, because when they offered me a new contract, it was obviously more money, but it was a place where I love the manager, I love the club, and I love the players. So I like really thought about it for quite a bit actually, and then turned it down, because I thought, right, let's just get to January and then just see what's about, because at the end of the day, the main goal for me in football is to play as high as you can, or all that kind of thing. So then, that was kind of a tough conversation to have.
Your self-belief then, though, you think how fast you moved on from Shrewsbury, where you're thinking, I'm feeling really bad, I'm struggling for a contract, to actually I've been offered a new deal at somewhere I love, but I'm feeling that confident, I'm actually going to say no to that, so I'm backing myself to get something better.
That, like I said, that was the really, really tough conversation, even with my family, because I think I'd actually go as far to say my family didn't want me to sign it and I wanted to sign it. And when we had multiple conversations, I kind of came round to believe that I probably shouldn't sign.
That's where you need good people around you.
Yeah.
That's very similar to when I left Shrewsbury. I got offered a new contract. I'd always been at Shrewsbury, loved Shrewsbury, wanted to stay there really. And my dream was always to play for Shrewsbury. So they're offering me a new contract. Whereas that's where you have to put faith in your agent, people like that, who are trying to look after your career, not just for you at that club.
Yeah.
And for them to give you the information, look, just hold on.
So
see what's out there.
Yeah, so I held on till January, and then obviously heard of them coming in again. So I was like, right, what do I do? But still, I think at that point, because we dipped in form, I was like, probably not going to get in the playoffs. So I'm just going to peter out this season. Like I'm just going to play games just to be mid-table. So I kind of got my head around it, because in the January it went really quiet, like nothing. But also in the January period, my agent was saying there was people interested for the end of the year, sort of in the league anyway. So I was sort of like getting my head round that, all right, I'm going to be leaving Solihull at the end of the year, potentially going back into the league. So I was like, oh, right, see what happens. Excuse me. But then it was sort of the end of February, he called me again out of nowhere, my agent, and he just said, Wrexham are interested. So, oh, okay. I'm not going to lie, I shit myself. Like, so I did, because in the back of my mind, I kind of was like, I don't really want to leave. Yeah. Because I was so happy.
Yeah. And there's no transfer windows in the National League.
No,
people
so they can just
it's out of January.
Yeah.
Wrexham as well can't sign anyone from the league either. So it's a perfect storm.
There is transfer window in there.
There is, but then I think there's a point where they can still, like, it goes on longer. So I signed, I think it was like 28th of February I signed, or something like that.
Yeah, I think there are windows, but I think it's slightly different to...
and obviously, and you've heard all about Wrexham, so
obviously we'd played there in Christmas and got battered and seen 10,000 fans.
The place was electric and that.
Yeah, you read all about it and you hear all about it at the moment, because that's Wrexham all over the place.
Yeah.
So I was really nervous. And for me personally, I think for my family it was different, because my mum and dad do keep in contact with my agent, probably more than me, to be honest, because I think they're so involved in my football, they just speak to him all the time, because they know sometimes I might not have the balls to text him and say, look, what's going on, because I'm not that kind of person. But my mum will text him and go, Dave, what's happening? So then I personally think now that I know what went on, I think it was going on for like a week, but for me it was like within a night I had to make the decision. So it was like within the day I kind of heard about it. And he was like, right, they're making a bid. I was thinking, Solihull ain't gonna take it. It's got to be all right for them to do it, because I had 6 months left, so they probably were going to accept a fee, but I knew it was going to be quite towards the high end, maybe a little bit. And I knew they wanted to keep me, so I thought that they might just, and they were going to get compensation at the end of the year. So I also thought they could just let me go for compensation, which wouldn't be a lot at that point. So then my agent called and he was just like, right, they've agreed a fee and they've sent the offer. So I was like, what is going on? Just like my head's all over the place. Like I'm still thinking,
brilliant.
What is going on? So I sort of had a conversation. It was like, my agent was like, call me back in. This is like 10 o'clock at night as well. So I'm like, I've got training the next day. I'm thinking about who Solihull are playing on Saturday. So I'm like, he's like, call me back in 25 minutes. Put the phone down, just look at my mum and dad like, oh, what the fuck do I do? Yeah. But then they obviously sent through the offer and stuff like that, and it was something I just couldn't turn down. Oh. And even then, I was probably like 60% sure that I was going. I was a bit like, still, I'm probably in my comfort zone a little bit at Solihull. Probably that's maybe why I didn't want to leave as much. Now I look back. So then I had a conversation with my mum and dad, and think there was one point where we just looked at each other and said, yeah, we've got to do it. Yeah. So I said yes to my agent, then I had an hour-long phone call with Phil Parkinson at sort of 11, 12 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Yeah. And then after that conversation, it was 100% on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it happened so quick. It was probably maybe a little bit better for me. I think that's why my mum and dad and my agent maybe know me so well. Because if I would have known it was coming for weeks, I'd have maybe tried to put it off a bit more, just wait till the end of the season. But because it was done in a night, I kind of had to just go, right.
Well, especially when you don't know what you're giving up. You could go to Wrexham, it could have been the same as Shrewsbury. You could get there and suddenly you're not in the match day squad, you don't feel part of it. Mm-hmm. It's rubbish, whereas actually you're playing great, a lovely set of lads, great gaffer.
Mm-hmm. Whilst the financial aspect, obviously you improve your wage, things like that, you must be thinking, Wrexham, the journey they're on, how big a club it is, the crowds are getting, the exposure that it will give you. You've still got ambitions to play at the very top. And that must have obviously made you think, what an amazing opportunity. You can't turn that down.
No, and no disrespect to Solihull, but sort of they'd get like 1,400 fans maybe on average.
They would accept that, Solihull. It's a different world, isn't it?
I was like comparing it to Wrexham, and they're selling out. People are struggling to get tickets. Like
away games as well.
Documentary, like even though honestly the off the pitch stuff wasn't even really what I was thinking about, and I generally still don't think about it, even though I'm in that bubble now. You kind of just separate it with football and that. So I was just
where's
thinking,
Vegas in that football?
Come on to
Vegas,
Vegas in a minute. Come on to that.
But yeah, so that was kind of crazy. It was like it all happened in the one night, and then I was just like, right, who've I got on Saturday then? So the
next day you trained the next day.
So I went into Solihull to get all my stuff, which was like,
see you lads,
horrible.
I'm off.
Yeah, that was because they were like all my friends and like the manager and stuff like that, like hugging them and that, and like because none of them knew either. So I had to go in.
They must
and
be
like,
so jealous.
Look at
Be pleased for you.
Where you going, Barney? Wrexham.
Really pleased, really pleased. Take me with you. What? Please take me with you.
Yeah. So walking in, I just had to look some of my then best mates in the eyes, and like, I'm leaving. They were like, "No, you're bantering. You're taking the piss."
Yeah.
Because it hadn't been any press. I remember me seeing it on Instagram, and I was like, where's that come from? I knew you were doing well, but Wrexham and how quickly it happened, nothing in the papers or anything like that.
So I had to drive to Solihull, get all my stuff, and then went to Wrexham, did the medical, signed the papers, and then stayed in the hotel. And then we had a game the next day. I was on the bench.
On the bench, weren't you?
Yeah. So I was like,
so you met the lads on the match day for the first time.
You didn't get on though, did you?
No. Didn't get on for the first two games. But I kind of...
That's probably a good thing, isn't it?
That's what I meant. Yeah, it's a good thing.
They were both at home as well, so I could kind of get used to the crowd a little bit.
Yeah. What did you think then? What was it? What was it like at the start?
It was a massive change to what I'd been used to, because I'd been used to like maybe 1,500, or if you play like, obviously not so Wrexham, you get more fans. But when I was there, it was like you actually realise how big they are at the moment, because to get out your car and just walk into the change room, you almost, like, they told me to like allow half an hour before you want to get there, just because there's just queues of people, like kids, Americans, like so many fans that you've got to take photographs, sign autographs. And I think as soon as I signed, I think social media was a big one. Like when it was first announced, like my phone just blew up. Like crazy amounts. I've never seen, like froze on most apps. And I was like, and then walking into the game, and seeing like everyone, I was like, wow, like, it's
something else.
So you had signed, you spoke to the manager.
Yeah.
When did you first have contact with the new owners, Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney?
So it was the night I was in the hotel, so I signed on the day, and then got into the hotel, and so I was just chilling out for the night, and I actually got in the bath. I was just like lying in the bath, put my phone like just on the side, and just got a text. It was like +1. I was like, no, surely not. And it was like Ryan Reynolds.
Like, most surreal moment.
You know, it comes up
in a bath in Wrexham.
Like maybe Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Or maybe.
Did it say I can see you?
This is a risky bit in a minute. So he texted me and he put like, so glad to have you at the club, all this kind of thing. Yeah. Let's get the fuck out of the National League. Yeah. That was the first text, which I was like, wow. Yeah. And then, so
quality.
I nearly FaceTimed him, like accidentally, in the bath.
Not great stuff.
That's too much. Like, I'm going in. That's too much.
When you get a new text on the iPhone, you click it down, and then you have to go on like info and put their name in.
Yeah.
I was just in such a like state of nerves that I clicked FaceTime. and Ryan Reynolds would have seen everything. I don't know if he would have been impressed or not. So that was the first time.
It looks smaller in the water. You have to get the right angle.
So that was the first time I heard from him, and then I saw Rob. Rob was at one of the games, so I spoke with Rob after that as well. And then it was only a few weeks after that Ryan actually flew over to one of the games, and then just came in the changing room after the game, and you're like, Wow.
It's mental, yeah.
And like genuinely, we were saying off air, weren't we? Like, I know it's easy because all the lads will go, oh yeah, they're great guys and all that, but they, like you were saying, they're genuinely like quality.
Yeah, it's like they're such. It's weird to say, but they are normal people.
Yeah,
like you think they're going to be so different because they've got this superstar status and that, but they're actually so nice and so kind. It's like you kind of forget that they are who they are.
Just in the dressing room chat with the lads.
You're at ease in their presence.
Yeah. You're almost comfortable now.
Yeah,
and it's weird because sometimes like there'll just be actors walking in the change room. Like I remember the only other one that I've really seen was Charlie Day and Paul Rudd as well.
Paul Rudd.
Yeah, but it's like they just walk in the change room. But now that you're sort of in that environment, you're just like,
hey, you right, mate?
You right, mate? How are you? Yeah.
Hey, good film.
Yeah. You have to like take a step back and think, wow, like, what is going on?
Amazing. But I love that though. Like, there's no reason they shouldn't be. But like you said, they've got superstar like stardom, and it's like they're still just great guys.
No,
like,
they're so
you expect
caring.
everybody to say that in the media, but then like when you're saying,
I'm genuinely serious.
Yeah.
Like they're so caring. Like they'll text you all the time. If you're over and your family's there, they'll have a word with your family and stuff like that.
Did they see if your mates from the podcast are over to look after
Any chance?
But again, we'll come back onto those guys, but away from that, it's the first time you've been bought, if you like. They've actually put money on you. Mm-hmm. Was there like an added pressure of that? Did you feel going to Wrexham, the size of the club, them paying money for you, them with ambitions, they have to get promoted? It's not a case of, if I do well, it's okay. No, you have to win the league.
Yeah. Like I said before we came on here, it was like, I've not really sat back and thought about what I've done in the last couple of months, but it was because I was kind of thrown in, and it was like the pressure was so high because of how big the title race was. I didn't even think about it. I kind of just clicked into gear, like, right, you have to play well. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. So I didn't really, I don't think I've really even now still scaled how pressurising the situation was and how big it is, really. So it's been quite tough, but no, I've really enjoyed it.
How were you in your first game? Nervous?
So that my first game was Maidenhead away. Really horrible ground.
Yeah. No disrespect to Maidenhead.
No disrespect. It was... I wouldn't say I showed 100% what I can do. Not saying I had a bad game, but maybe didn't show people like why they bought me.
Yeah.
And I'd say maybe the second game, after the second game, which was Dagenham away, I think that was kind of where the fans were like, okay, right, this is why we've brought him in. And I sort of found my feet a little bit, because obviously the first one you're going to be nervous and stuff like that, and not really know how the team's playing, because I'd never played with any of the players before. I didn't know any of them either.
There's a lot of pressure in it, because there's a lot of lads there, you know, who could play at a higher level, isn't it? And they're coming in, and you've got to be like, if you're signing someone, you've got to come in and improve the team, not being as good. Like, you're going to be better.
I do think that pressure kind of put me up a bit more. Like, right, you've got to play well here. There's pressure on you here. So I think
if they're at that stage of the season, if they're paying money for you and they're in a good position already, that is to get them over the line. They're thinking you're a player who's going to come in and just get us.
I find that's a trait with you though, Barney. Like you've spoken a lot about being nervous to speak to managers, and like you know that your mum will text your agent and stuff like that. But I've always found, like, and again, like it's not synonymous with how you were with me in football. The bigger the occasion, the more I found you turned up. I mean, not to say that you didn't turn up in the other occasion, because you absolutely did. But I always recall a game. Do you remember the Hartlepool away game?
Yeah.
And we lit them up, didn't we? Mm-hmm. We absolutely took them to the cleaners, and we tactically pulled them apart. But we went with two really attacking outside players, wing backs as you call them, because we knew that their full-backs would be really high and wide, and we just destroyed them, didn't we? We won 2-1 at their place, and they were a league above us. But we just mastered them on the day. And we knew we were going to do it, didn't we? And I just think on that day, it was like it's Hartlepool, so it's a bigger ground, obviously. Like they weren't in a great place, but we'd taken quite a lot of fans at Telford and all of that. And I just looking around my players, thinking, who's got the mentality, who's the one's going to be up for this today? And I just you lit the day up, didn't you? And the Orient games, but
some attribute that is to have, isn't it?
Yeah. Amazing. In football, it seems to me like the bigger the occasion for you, the more you rise to it. So I can't wait now, because I know you're going to be on even bigger stages, and I just think you'll just keep reveling in it.
Yeah, I think it's weird. I kind of have the mentality to just not think about it, and I literally try not to overthink anything, because as soon as I start overthinking, I just become really stressed, nervous, and then you just don't play good football.
That's why people do cave in.
It's trying to play without that fear, isn't it? I mean, we're going to get Drew Broughton on in a couple of weeks, but that's the idea. Like, people play with fear, don't they? And it's debilitating, isn't it, when you play like that?
Yeah, I've definitely... My worst games have been when I've been like so nervous and like overthinking. Oh, is my first pass going to be all right? Am I going to do this? But And then when I just don't think about it and just be free in myself, that's when I've played the best football. And to be fair, I actually really enjoy playing in front of crowds, like bigger crowds. Well, not any crowd really. I sort of want to impress that kind of, as a winger as well. I think you want to almost
Save
do
people.
that. Yeah.
And once you've done it in front of a big crowd, that gives you confidence then.
Yeah, exactly. I think
I belong here.
Yeah, you feel more confident again.
And you've done it in the big games for Wrexham as well. You talk about, we'll go on to now getting promoted and things, but those big games at the end of the season were some of your best games.
Yeah, especially with Notts breathing down our necks as well. That was...
That must have been, that's a lot of pressure. Did you feel that from day to day? Because they'd been expecting you to win it, but Notts County just didn't go anywhere, did they?
I don't think we really spoke about it as players, but I think in the back of everyone's mind, I think everyone was
Can't get this message.
You just, as a group then, were you just getting on with it, really?
Yeah.
You were just very much
it was just right, on to the next one. If we win, wouldn't even think about it. I think there was one game we played at home, and I think it was Notts County, actually, obviously, when we won.
Yeah.
We were like... It was hard not to celebrate. Obviously, we went up to Ben Foster with the penalty save. We went up to him and had a little celebration as the whistle went. But then the leaders in the group were kind of like, watch yourself, settle down. We haven't won the league yet. Calm down, because anything can happen. So
it's quality.
Yeah.
And is he one of the leaders in the group? I know he hadn't been there very long, Ben Foster.
Ben Foster, yeah. I think he's that's natural, isn't it, with his age and his experience. He just becomes one of the loudest in the dressing room just because he kind of knows what to say. He knows what to say in the dressing room. He knows what to say to me as well. I think he's been really good with me. Even on the pitch, he'll like, if I do something good, especially because I'm more of a winger than a defender, and I think a lot of people know that. And it's something that I've been working on the last couple of years, defending. And I think he could spot that straight away that I was a winger, obviously, because setting up chances, running down the wing. And if I do something little as tackling one of the wingers, he'd go, "Bonnie, you're the man you are." Yeah. And just little things like that.
He knows a
lot of people might just think, "Oh, he's just saying you're the man."
That's got to be a big reason to bring him in. It's a no-brainer, isn't it? Because not only could he easily still play
to play his own skin, isn't he? Because of his age, his experience, and he knows how to get the best out of it. It's experience, isn't it? A lot vital, isn't it?
He is quality. Great character, isn't he, from what you see on all of his podcasts.
Who else is big characters in that dressing room?
Paul Mullin, obviously.
Yeah.
There's actually loads. They're sort of all experienced players, and I think it's a credit to the manager because he sort of, I know he doesn't sign dickheads because there's not one in that change room, and a lot of the players have told me he really does his due diligence.
That's what Ryan Lowe said the same thing on the other, didn't he? He just read, I don't sign dickheads.
So he'll from what I've heard, he'll sort of ring 5 players for a reference. If he gets 1, he'll ring another 3 or another 2, and that way he's got a really good dressing room. So
after the group,
and then it being there day by day, I had a preconception before I went there that there's probably a few dickheads in that changing room. Yeah,
just because there for the wrong reasons.
Just because
they've got to have a level of arrogance, haven't they?
Yeah,
to
I was
be
thinking,
successful.
Because obviously they're on the documentary, like they're winning every week. I think it's natural to just look at them and think, oh, they've probably got a bit of arrogance, but going in there, it was the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Healthy level of confidence, self-confidence, but not arrogance.
Yeah.
Now on to the good bits. You managed to get over the line, get promoted.
Yeah.
Celebrations after
Vegas,
that.
baby.
Celebrations, yeah. So we won.
I seen all the pics on Instagram. Looked unbelievable.
Oh, it was brilliant.
What did you do on the?
Bonnie, we've been living our life for you for the last.
It's all over social media, isn't it?
Show my missus, I know him.
Yeah. She said, so do I. Oh, no.
Well, so talk us through. You got promotion, then you had the big party that night, didn't you?
Yeah.
We've seen all the footage of that, seen that on Ben Foster's stuff. So you had an amazing night that night.
Yeah, so we won that game, Bournemouth. We obviously had one more game left, but I think all hell just broke loose. The change room was
mad, isn't it?
The change room was absolutely drenched. I was drenched, stunk of beer. Then obviously we come out, do the trophy parade, and then we go upstairs to like the bar, just drinking the whole night. And then
in the bar at the ground.
In the bar at the ground, yeah. So then
is this all the lads as well?
All the lads, families, all the staff, families.
Dad
as well.
and all that.
Yeah. So then we go down into the town. The town's mental. Yeah, everyone's going absolutely crazy.
Wrexham's mental in town.
Night out anyway. People offering me kebabs, pizzas, everything. Walking straight to the club. So we go straight there. Then we get on the stage, and then I think they were just like, it was a place where all the fans went, so they were just singing chants. We were on the stage, all that kind of thing. Brilliant. And went back and just carried on drinking. And then because beforehand I didn't bring any spare clothes because I didn't want to. Like, I knew we could win the league, but I didn't want to be like lads off prep. Yeah, no, I was in my club trackie, right?
In the club,
so I was like,
old school. So easy, old school.
So I was like, lads, I didn't want to bring any clothes because I didn't want to preempt.
Okay. I'd have had me Barnet
Love
shirt
that,
on.
yeah.
I've had that on.
So my car was still there, and obviously I couldn't drive home.
No.
So I was like, where am I going to stay? Stayed in there's like a players' hotel that the players use. So I stayed in there for one night, still in the same gear. Woke up, straight back on the drink all day session.
Still in your
Wrexham.
trackie?
Yeah, still in my trackie. Stunk.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
Grealish got nothing on you, Barnett.
I love it.
Nothing on you, mate.
Yeah, so all day drinking, then got picked up, came back, and then I think within a week we had the trophy parade, and that was like, there was so many fans. I couldn't believe, for like a National League club,
Yeah.
the amount of fans.
It's incredible,
there.
their fan base, isn't it?
I don't know whether it was true, but like Sky were reporting like over 30,000 people there.
That's crazy.
It was like, what is going on? So that was crazy. That took about 3 hours to complete just on the top of the bus.
Bus going
Sam
nowhere.
remembers being on top. Oh no, you went on holiday, didn't you?
Oh, is that?
Sam had his open top bus parade and decided to go on holiday instead.
Really cool one. I went to Magas with the lads. Had a good time at Magas. That's for another podcast.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
So then, we then a week later we were on the plane to Vegas.
So how's that come about? Did you know that was going to happen in Vegas, or was that a surprise?
There was conversations. I think the players had agreed at the start of the year.
If we get promotion,
It's Vegas. So obviously, when I come in, you hear little whispers, but then everyone's like, "Don't talk about it. Don't talk about Vegas.
You don't jinx
until it's confirmed. Don't talk about it."
Yeah.
Especially in the players' lounge when all the wives are around.
Yeah.
It's a compulsory trip.
Yeah.
Take me golf clubs.
Yeah.
never get them out of suitcase. Go on, sorry, so go on.
So that's how I found out about it, just through whispers in the changing room. But obviously, it was told.
So how did you go for?
We went. I can't even remember.
It's ridiculous. So you've been looked after like you wouldn't believe. Obviously, Ryan Reynolds.
We went for
sorted
5 days. It was like 5 days, 4 nights, I think. 5.
and they've sorted out everything. The owners.
They've sorted out everything. They said,
and it's the best of the best.
Leave your wallets at home, and we'll sort the best of the best. I think originally, from what I heard, they sent to the skipper a schedule of the person who was organised it, and they had like 1 or 2 days where, all right, we'll have a rest day by the pool. He was like, no. That's not happening. So we changed everything.
Who said that? The skipper.
The skipper.
Right.
Class.
Yeah. So that all got
What a
changed.
leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we obviously flew out, got to the airport, drink, flight, drink, get there, drink. Then I'm going to try and remember as best.
What's your hotel like? Unbelievable hotel.
It was the Mandalay Bay.
Oh, rubbish. Sounds terrible.
No, it was nice. It was
amazing.
Yeah. So then got to the hotel. Then we went for food at Hakkasan. Lovely restaurant, unbelievable food. Yeah. And then walk straight through with security into the club, which says starts playing a Wrexham song. Wrexham signs everywhere, bottles, everything.
In the club,
we've got like 4 booths in a row. Just unlimited drink the whole night. And I think we are overspent on the budget as well.
Which is a good effort because the budget was pretty big.
Yeah, we
really had to go some overspend on that budget.
So then it was just like club, go to sleep for 2 hours, get up, drink, pool party, club, repeat till the last night.
It's all organised for you.
All
No
organised,
one
yeah.
paying, and
We
you're
just
not paying
kind
a
of
penny
we
for
had
it.
a bus, and they were just like, right, be there at this time. We'll go for a meal, all this kind of thing. I nearly missed one night because I was jet lagged, just drinking all the time. And then it was the night that Rob McElhenney got there, and they had a meal for him being there, and we got in from the pool party, and I just must have got onto my bed and just gone.
Yeah.
Because my roommate was like, he said after it, I was like shaking you and you would not move it. So I was like, oh my God. And he come back in at 1 and I can't remember, I think he forgot his wallet or something like that. And he come in and I shot up and went, what time is it? It was like 1 o'clock. All right, I can go out. Got up, put my clothes on, straight to the club.
Brilliant.
Didn't miss the night. So
Well done.
Wasn't,
Good
got
effort,
away with it.
especially as a young lad as well. It's a good effort.
And obviously you had a number, but everyone was all right as well.
Yeah,
No trouble. Or anything
no trouble as well. But I think
perfect holiday.
I think
really.
it was because we had good security guys, and
you're just getting looked after
and the tour
everywhere.
guys who was with us are the Kings of Leon managers. So they just organised every club and was like, right, we'll look after you. You'll be
And every club, pool party, restaurant you went to, welcoming Wrexham, you guys
Wrexham
were like
everywhere,
heroes.
Yeah.
So when you was at Wrexham, Sam,
I was at Wrexham, it wasn't like that. We didn't have a relegation party.
in no parallel universe, would you expect this to be happening in 15 years?
Different world. What about the gaffer? Is the gaffer there as well?
No, I think the staff went to Portugal on their own little trip, so they didn't go. Yeah.
Probably wise, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sensible,
yeah.
isn't it, that? But the owners come out and met you.
Rob did, but I think Ryan was filming or something like that, so he couldn't make
Dave
it.
boxed
But
it all
Rob was
off
there.
for you
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
It's
Everything.
an absolutely different world, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I made sure to text them after because the stuff we did was like once in a lifetime. I don't think, even if I went back, I genuinely wouldn't be able to do that. It's like we literally did the best of the best. Yeah. So it's kind of like I don't think I can go back there now because I wouldn't experience it as well as I did because it was that good.
It's an incredibly special time.
You've had that amazing time. And you have to celebrate these occasions because they don't come along, especially in your situation as well with Wrexham and the journey they're going on. What an amazing time. But I suppose once you get back from there, all of a sudden you've got your football head back on and you're thinking, I'm going to be playing back in the Football League now. Yeah. Big ambitions.
Yeah, well,
I want to be playing that first game of the season. We're only a week away from it as we're recording. So you obviously got back to work straight after that.
Yeah, well, what I do now is I definitely make sure that I make the most of my off-season. Yeah. So I think I had 4 or 5 holidays in different countries. But also, one of my best mates, Luke McCormick, you'll know from Shrewsbury, we went together and we have that relationship where when it's time to work, we'll work. So when you get the programme through, I'll start it straight away. And I'll even do extra sometimes because you never want to go back nowadays.
You can't.
Being at the back. No. Because then it just puts you so far behind in even just getting in the manager's thoughts because you're so far back and thinking, he's had a good summer. Yeah. So I was still doing the running even though it probably looked like I was all around the world, which I was.
But they're more relaxing. They're recovery, relaxing holidays. Not Vegas. I'm out every night. This is right. I'm recuperating, enjoying being away.
Yeah, exactly. So I had the difference between partying and then I had a couple where I was like, right, put your legs up now. Like I went to Kos in Greece, just sat on the sun lounger. Yeah. That was about it really. And then obviously get back from all of them and you got to switch back on. So getting ready for pre-season. So I was still just running. I think we had 9 weeks off, which is one of the longest I've ever had off anyway. Yeah. But we had a long off-season programme, so it wasn't like we were having 9 weeks off doing nothing. We had 3 weeks, which is usual, to do nothing.
9 weeks, not as a group.
But then 6 weeks was like run most days.
So obviously now then you're back into pre-season. You were explaining just before, obviously like Wales and we come on to the American like pre-season trip. But did you say you went to Wales first?
Wrexham.
Trained in
Wrexham.
Oh, you stayed in Wrexham. Sorry. I thought you said you'd gone to a camping. Right. Okay.
So we had a week in Wales at the training ground, which was very tough. Like very tough. Yeah. You have the testing on the first day.
Vegas seemed a million miles away.
That pool party's a distant memory, isn't it? In the rainic respite.
It's always raining in Wrexham. Yeah. Honestly, I wake up here, sunny,
Wales
drive to Wrexham.
That's Shrewsbury compared to Wrexham.
A lot of Shrewsbury fans commenting on that.
Yeah. So
what? You had 2 weeks. You've had 2 weeks in America. Pre-season. So pre-season that.
Yeah. So we had a week in Wales, which was really tough, and then fly for 2 weeks to USA, travelling all over there really, and played 4 games in 2 weeks. And
that's mad. The Wrexham going to America, though, isn't it? I mean,
and again being treated like a Premier League team.
Yeah. So obviously we're sponsored by United Airlines, so I think they sorted out all the flights for us, and obviously if they wanted to adjust the schedule, they'd sort it out, which was unbelievable. But so we'd fly out, and all the hotels were unbelievable. The food, like the places we got to train, and the teams we were playing was just ridiculous.
So who were you playing them, Roy?
So we played LA Galaxy, Chelsea, Man United and Philadelphia.
Man United.
LA Galaxy and Philadelphia
Anyone
was their
good?
Second teams.
Yeah.
But Chelsea and United were... Man United was 23s.
But Man U, 35,000. Chelsea, 55,000.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, and even then I think LA Galaxy was still 16,000. Even though it's second team, it was like 16,000. And then
probably more of them come to watch Wrexham than the other teams as well.
Should have stayed at Solihull, mate.
I know. That's what a lot of people said to me, to be fair. But no, it was... you see the support they've got out there. It's just crazy. Like, the amount... when you're playing Chelsea, you expect to see majority Chelsea shirts, but I'd say it was at least 50-50 Wrexham.
Was it?
Chelsea, yeah. It's like, that's again another indicator where you realise how actually huge it is.
And the envy rushing through my veins when I look on his Instagram. He's at TaylorMade HQ.
Oh, yeah.
Going on golf simulators, driving ranges, being treated like royalty there.
Tour. Yeah,
TaylorMade HQ, no one goes there. No one. It's a fortune
just because it's a fortune, and obviously it's really
and only really like tour pros sort of get to do the experience that we did. So it was
raging.
And luckily I'd started golf sort of about 3 months before this trip.
Yeah.
So I managed to get on the trip and think, I want to get into it more now.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an
a couple of
experience.
weeks.
Amazing opportunities out there, isn't it? I mean, what
Yeah.
a journey that is. You know, you're thinking about your Shrewsbury having a difficult time, then still only 23 as well. You've packed a lot in, haven't you, in a short space of time?
Yeah, I think I've already experienced quite a lot. I know it's not a massive roller coaster, but I've had quite a lot of different feelings within football so far, and I think that can only sort of benefit me going into the late years of my career as well. So, yeah,
it's good for the people to hear as well about getting released and not getting too down. When you're not wanted. Everybody's going to have them periods in their career that are tough. You're not really part of the plan. You don't know where you're going. You've gone on loan. It's COVID, and you've got all these difficulties, and then a few years later you're in Vegas. In the casino.
I think sometimes it can go sort of one way or the other, can't it? Some people will lose motivation and just think, I'm not doing this anymore. But genuinely, getting released by Shrewsbury was the best thing. That now I sit in this situation was the best thing that could have happened to me, just because it almost like reignited a bit more fire in me. Like, oh, I've got to prove people wrong now. Because you see comments on social media sometimes, you read into it maybe when you shouldn't sometimes, and they're like, oh, is he going to be able to make the jump back up? Is he going to be a regular for Solihull? These anything like that. Yeah. And you're like, right, I kind of had the fire, like, right, I'm going to show people and not give up and go again and try and do the best I can.
Do you think that's come from your grounding as a kid?
100%, 100%,
yeah. Good managers.
I owe everything to my family, 100%, because I think they definitely keep me grounded when I need to be, and they help me up when I'm down.
Also yourself as an individual, your mentality. When I see people go through the position you're in, I think the one thing that stands out with people who come back through the leagues like you're doing is that consistency every single day, not being disillusioned, not being disheartened, coming in, same attitude, same work rate, just knowing it will change at some point. It has to. Do you know what I mean? If you work that hard every single day.
I believe in always a lesson, never a failure. Yeah. So, and everything happens for a reason, which I think is a big indicator in my position, because, like I said, it gives me that energy again to think, right, I've got to do this. So
the things you're saying now, Ryan, like, are really inspirational. Like, we have a lot of people that listen to this podcast that like need to hear that sort of stuff. Like lots of resilience and that. And you've spoken about not thinking too much about something and just staying focused, like being present. And we've spoken loads about that on the podcast. But I think, like, from my perspective, mate, like you are, I think you're destined for even bigger things that are going on now, and hopefully that'll be with Wrexham or you kick on again. But like, the thing with you is as well, you are an extraordinary young man as well. Like, you are a great lad, great person, and that's credit to your family and to you. So, mate, it's been brilliant having you on.
Yeah, thank you. I will be booing you though when you
that's fine.
Inevitably cross paths at Shrewsbury. I'll be the one shouting traitor at you.
I'd
like to think you would get a good reception from Shrewsbury fans.
In a Wrexham shirt, I'm not sure.
I think even on social media, you obviously get one or two, which is going to happen. But from the comments that I've seen personally, they've actually been quite nice.
Absolutely.
Even though I'm playing for a rival team.
Anyone with any sane mind, obviously the rivalry...
It wasn't your choice, was it?
Anyone with any sane mind would go, fair play to the lad, he's done brilliant.
And any fans that I speak to, generally, they're actually really nice towards me.
And they'll be gutted you're not there.
A local lad doing well, isn't it? Brilliant to see. Like, fair play to you. What everybody has to do, though, Ryan, on our podcast, is you have to pick your five-a-side team. So you need a keeper, defender...
Who I've played with.
Keeper, a defender who you've played with, and keeper, a defender, midfielder, two forwards. Or you could do what Gav,
two midfielders,
4 defenders.
One, any formation you want.
Keeper, who's the best goalkeeper you played with?
Dean Henderson.
Short amount of time.
Dean Henderson straight away. Dean Henderson.
Straight out of the blocks.
Yeah, that'll hurt. That'll hurt Fozzie, but
I'm sorry, Ben.
He won't like that on the podcast, I tell you.
Yeah, he was. Did you ever get to his confidence? I saw him on the tour actually. I had a nice chat with him actually, but his confidence was a different level, like a different level. I remember hearing
self-belief.
Yeah, I didn't sort of really get to know him that well, but trained with him quite a lot, and then being in change room with him, like seeing. I know he was quite young when he came to Shrewsbury as well, but his distribution and just his confidence in his own ability was something I'd never seen before from my young age. I was like, wow. And his technique, he had the technique to back it up as well, to be fair. So he was confident, but he also had the ability. And
did you take a bit from that? Even though, I mean, you're a different character, but you take a little bit from that?
Yeah, a little bit. I'd say a tiny bit, having more confidence in myself. A lot of my friends say that to me sometimes, like, you're better than you think you are. because sometimes you can put yourself down, obviously getting released and things like that. You might think, oh, can I actually do it, like we spoke about on the pod? But no, he's
good pick.
He's definitely number one.
What about the best defender?
I'm going to go because of how he is as a person as well, just off the top of my head. I don't know why. Matt Sadler.
I thought you were going to say Sad Son.
Everyone loves him, don't they? Why we need to get him on?
Him as a person, I used to love him.
Yeah.
Come on, wasn't he? Sad,
nice.
easy.
Yeah.
Well, just
he's a manager now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
I'll see him this year. I'll put a word in.
Yeah.
As a leader or what? What was so?
As a leader, as a captain, as a person,
as a man,
as a player as well. I think he was criminally underrated. Yeah. I know a lot of Shrewsbury fans do rate him, but I don't think he was actually realised for how good he was.
Yeah.
And seeing that in training, obviously fans don't see training, but he'd give 100% every day. So he's definitely on there.
Yeah, good
midfield.
choice.
Can I go for? I don't want to go for players I'm playing with right now. I'm going to mix it up, so I'm not going to say.
Must have some good ones at Wrexham.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I'm going to leave it from. I'm going to do it from my past. So
yeah,
John Nolan.
Good choice.
Yeah.
I don't think I played with him, but I trained with him. Does that count? Yeah. So I think that year he wasn't there for long, but that year
really influential.
Yeah, and I talk about Sean Morley during that year. Him and Sean Morley were like
best mates.
Your best mates, and like on the pitch, it was like they were on the same wavelength. They'd just play one training. They'd actually take the piss. Yeah, just take 1-2s. Just keep going.
They're inseparable, weren't they?
Nolo. He that year he was really, really good. And then
he's another one who like big games turned up and played, didn't he?
Yeah, and then another one I'd go for is because he played centre mid, but I know he's not a centre mid now. Ben Godfrey.
Yeah,
that year. I keep talking about that year, but that year was like
special
wow.
Year.
He, I think he was he 19?
Yeah,
he was like 19 or 20.
Would have been that,
and he was an absolute unit.
Yeah,
like he was massive, and he was so fit, and he had the technical ability as well to back it up, and obviously that year I think he sort of played CDM, didn't he?
Yeah,
behind Nolo, and he was a really nice lad actually. Yeah. Definitely deserves to be where he is now.
Yeah,
I know he's struggled with injuries recently.
He's been unlucky, hasn't he?
Yeah,
I watched him quite a lot that season. He was unbelievable.
Yeah. So I've got to centre forward them,
or a winger playing up front, maybe.
I've got to have Sean Morley.
I was going to say that.
Got to have Sean Morley. Yeah. I can't say all that about him and then not have him in my team.
So you gone for an all Shrewsbury team there?
I have. Yeah.
Over Wrexham, I like that.
There's a lot of in my mind. There's a lot of honourable mentions. In there, but there's a lot of Solihull who deserve to be.
That shows you as well the kind of the people you were learning off when you were younger. They're all good role models.
There, isn't it?
Really good role models.
Yeah, definitely.
Class.
No, but fantastic, mate. That is amazing. Thank you so much for your time. What a story that is, isn't it?
At only 23.
23 as well. So obviously the season's coming up this time. What's your thoughts? Promotion?
100%. That's the only goal. Promotion. However we do it.
Love that. Thank you very much.
Another trip to Vegas as well.
Been a pleasure having you on, Barney. Thank you so much.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Anybody want to say anything?
No, brilliant, Barney.
Cheers, Barney.
Thank you, mate. Thanks very much, mate.
Thank you.
In the Stiffs with Budging Motors. Budging Motors are on Stafford Park in Telford and Featherbed Lane in Shrewsbury. For all your car needs, contact Budging now.